recorded to the cloud.
Great. Welcome everyone to the Thursday, October 17th session of the HamSCIence Zoom meeting. All are welcome. Good to see everyone here today. And actually, Nathaniel, I'll turn it right back over to you since you've got an introduction to make.
Okay, sure. When I was at Montclair State, one of my computer science professors is Dr. Catherine Herbert, and I got an email from her the other day, and she said, "I have a student who's interested in applying machine learning to HamSci data," and she wondered if he could participate. And so I said, "Sure, that would be wonderful." And so he is on this call, and I've never met him before, but this is Tyler Dietze, KD2NLN. Hello, Tyler. And I'd like you to meet Dr. Mary Lou West, who I think you've heard about. She's on here too. She's just a couple miles from you. And
Hi,
if you want to say
Tyler.
hi.
Good afternoon. It's nice to meet you all.
Nice to meet you too. So this is and this is a weekly telecon where we are trying to do science analysis with amateur radio data. So this is a good place for you to be.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to it.
Wonderful.
Have you
Back
done
over
any
to you, Gary.
projects? Have you done any projects with Dr. Herbert already?
Nope, this is my first one.
Very good.
And there's also other people who are fairly local to you on here, as well as Kuldeep Pandey. Say hi, Kuldeep. So Kuldeep is a postdoc who is at NJIT. So he's right down the road from you as well. And actually, you know, you two working together on the data might make a lot of sense since you're so close. And it's likely that some of the data sets that Kuldeep is working on might be some of the data sets that you might be interested in as well. So, and then the person who runs this telecon is Gary, AFAA. He's over in Ohio. But he'll be visiting Scranton next week, as will, I think, Steve Serwin, who's in Texas right now, and Mary Lou, and a number of other people. I'm glad you could join us, Tyler. I'll turn it back over to Gary.
All right, great. Yeah, one of the nice things about HamSci and this call, but HamSci in general, is there's a very wide variety of ages and experience levels. A lot of teachers, a lot of learners, and a lot of people in between. So if you totaled up everybody's years of experience, either in the science world or in the amateur radio world, it would probably be be more than centuries worth, hundreds and hundreds of years. So, and everybody's very willing and able to share too. So that's another. So if you ever have a question or you want to bring something up, this is a good place to do it because you'll probably find a person who can point you in the right direction. While we're talking about Scranton next week, do you want to make one last time, Nathaniel, your announcement for the W3 USR event?
Absolutely, Gary. So next Friday, October 30th, we are going to have the official W3 USR dedication. And this is going to be quite a significant event, I think. We are, and we got it written up in the Royal News. So that is now here. So the dedication will start at 3 in the afternoon. We're going to have a lecture and dedication ceremony that will last somewhere between 45 minutes to an hour. And then there will be a student poster session and open station hours and light reception. And so that's a time where you can talk with the students and the other researchers here. Kukai, our new postdoc, she's coming up from Maryland for this as well, so she'll be there. And then we're going to have the station open so you can go up and operate the station at this time. And then at 6:15 p.m. we'll have a dinner. So if the lecture and the little reception poster session open station hours, that is free, and the dinner is $30. You can get tickets by going to the link I will put in the chat. And we have many different guests coming to join us. Rosie Schechter and Ria Jairam from ARDC will be coming. Dr. Shikha Rezada, the NSF program officer for aeronomy, will be coming. We have, of course, Gary and Mary Lou and Steve on this call will be coming. And the president of the university, I believe, will be speaking. I have to confirm it, but I am told I'm on his calendar. So we're really looking forward to the event. And we do have, I'll give you a little preview. We got a big plaque made up for the station. And it even has, Mary Lou, it has your name on it. And call sign. So we're very much looking forward to this. And Steve Serwin, yeah, Steve Serwin's coming in from Texas, and he's been working with one of my students, Alex Papadopoulos, and another student, Gerard, on the HFTDOA project. And we're going to give them time during the lecture to talk about their project because there's, out of all the research projects we're doing, I think theirs is the most ham radio and the one that actually used the news station. So we're really excited to see that. I think Kuldeep is coming as well, and Gareth and some of the people from NJIT. And I think Greg from Canada, you're on coming, right, Greg? So he's coming in from Canada. Did I miss anyone else? So it's going to be wonderful having everybody here.
So I've only got one question. If there's a lecture, do I need to bring like -- 2 pencils? Is there going to be a test afterwards, or?
No, this is going to be a fun lecture. No test.
It takes me back to the days of paper exam booklets and all that. So,
Great.
all right, wonderful. Thanks. Any comments or questions on the big event next week? I kind of think of this as Nathaniel's third child at W3USR station. He's got a boy and a girl and a ham radio station that he's fostering, so raising.
It does seem to be that way.
But no, it's a great thing because you've put a lot of time and effort into it, but it's been a long-term project too. And it just shows that with a little bit of determination and vision and whatnot, that things don't always happen quickly, but I think we're going to find out that they happen very well. So that's certainly a good part of it. Okay, is a couple of things before we get into the meat of the call today. Is there anything that anybody would like to add to the agenda, or any comments or questions or things they want to bring up so we can make sure we leave some time for everybody? Mary Lou, sure.
So I just have a few photographs to show you folks. Physics in action. So last week I was in Iceland for a vacation, and I got to see the Northern Lights. So I thought I'd show you how they look different there than they look in the United States. Okay, so the main difference I found is that here they look sort of pastel pink or purple, but there they're bright green, and they're all over the sky, not just sort of at the northern horizon. So there's one of them.
Wow.
And this one I really like. The white dot in the middle of the picture is Jupiter. So this thing came whomping down and looked like it was going to attack Jupiter, but it missed and ended up to the side of it. But I thought that was really kind of exciting, that one.
Can you make them full screen? We're just seeing your folder.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. And so here's one. And this made like teeth. And then it progressed to have teeth on either side of that and made like a picket fence that went side to side for maybe 30, 40 degrees across the sky.
We're just still seeing the thumbnails.
It's full screen on mine.
Yeah, well, not here.
I think, Mary Lou, you're only sharing your window with us. You're not sharing the picture.
Well, how to do that? Let's see. No, I'll have to do it next time. Sorry.
You should go back up on your screen the way you want it, and then you do a share. You find that window, and it should show up properly.
Right.
We can take a minute. Yeah, give it a try.
Let's try again here. Okay. If I get it there, then I can't find the share screen button. Let's try that. That look better?
Ah, that's it.
All
Beautiful.
right.
Beautiful.
Okay, so it is a basically a whole bunch of vertical green streaks, and it would stay that way for a minute or two and then gradually get bigger or gradually get smaller. Nothing seems to happen very fast. There's that. Here's the one that was attacking Jupiter. Just off in the east. And then here's the one that looked like the teeth. Went down. And then here's one taken by the bus driver. So the way I thought it was fun the way he did that. So he made three of us stand together and stand still for 15 seconds. Now don't you move. And then he just took a time lapse, and at the last moment he took his flashlight and painted us with his flashlight. So we were not so bright as all that, except took 15 seconds to get the background of the aurora. Anyway, great fun.
He'd clearly done that before.
Absolutely. Many times.
Mm.
There we go. Thank you for waiting.
No, it's
I have a
beautiful.
picture
Thank
I
you
can
for
show you real
sharing.
quick on recent astronomical events in San Antonio.
Yes, I
Sure,
enjoyed
Steve.
your pictures. You were the more pastel pink variety, right?
Yes, we in fact had the aurora down here for the second time in a year, but there was other action down here that was probably worldwide. Actually, I got some pictures of the comet Shan. That word has got 7 consonants and 4 vowels. I can hardly pronounce it.
Yeah. So what we're calling that
Shoo.
is Comet T Atlas.
Okay. You want to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
That's
Now,
beautiful.
you can't see that with your eyeballs. That's a 10-second exposure at ISO 1600, tripod.
That's beautiful.
Anyway,
But
there it is.
I'll say that if you take 7x50 binoculars to it, it's
Yes.
quite good. I was looking at it last night. It'll be visible again tonight, just after sunset.
It's getting a little higher in the sky every night.
Right. Higher and dimmer, but still there.
Yes.
What are we looking at?
Oh, that was the comet. You can wait for the next time around. It'll be here in another, I think, 80,000 years.
Give or take a little. Yeah. Yeah. So you should look at the western horizon between 7 o'clock and 7:30 in the evening. The bright object close, maybe 10 degrees from the horizon, is Venus. The comet is to the upper right of Venus by maybe 20 degrees, so that's 10 degrees, 20 degrees. And it's not very bright, but it's oriented almost vertically, as we saw in that picture. That was lovely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, very nice, Steve. Very nice.
Great.
Okay.
I've got one to show in Kentucky.
Sure, Gary.
Okay, hang on a second here. See if I can share. I'm doing it on my iPhone here, so let me see. Photos. That's not it. Screen. I'll figure this out in a bit and I'll try it again later.
Did anybody else see the auroras a week ago?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to share.
Okay.
The
Yeah, we
auroras.
saw it in New Hampshire, but we had to find sucker holes.
Yeah, we had the pinkish here in Berea, Kentucky, just south of Lexington.
I'm in Blairstown, and sky was completely red.
Yeah,
it made it as far south as San Antonio, but it took a camera to really see it. And it was just here it was just a uniform red glow, like you said. But my son, who lives high on a hill with a dark view to the north, got some really cool pictures.
Steve, how do you know what time of the night to go look for it? I mean, it's dark for 13 hours or so this time of year. That's a long time to sit outside when it's cold.
For the aurora?
Yeah.
Well, if it's here, it's going to be here all night, right, Mary Lou?
No, it can last only an hour, or
Oh.
come in and go away and come back.
Yeah,
But
this one there was a
look as soon as it gets dark and see if you're lucky.
Like so many other things, you just got to be there when it happens.
That's correct.
Right.
You have to go out when it is.
Okay. Well, that's kind of like working GX.
There was a big burst around 7 p.m. Eastern, which I missed, but other people got to see. And then by the time I was out there, which was like 10:30, it was more the diffuse aurora.
This is me in Berea, Kentucky.
Oh,
wow,
that's
beautiful.
And as the KP was almost 7.63 was the KP on this photograph.
Yeah, maxed out at 8 point something.
That's a beautiful picture.
Yeah.
That is wow, lovely.
Yeah.
That should go on the website.
Definitely take it. That's for sure. I'll send it to you. Or screen capture. I'll send it to you, Gary.
All right.
And along with a couple others I took.
Yeah, very good.
The caption should read, "The atmosphere on when all the field day transmitters are operating." or when during all the the atmosphere is a result of all the activity during CQ worldwide.
I think we'd have trouble supporting that scientifically, but it would make for a good one. All right. How about if we conduct a little bit of business?
Okay.
Let me share my screen, and and then afterwards, I want to talk about our schedule for the next couple of weeks too. So let me do a share here. All right. Okay, we should be seeing some text here in purple, I hope. So recall last week I mentioned that our friends at NASA are getting ready for AGU, which is a good thing, in December, American Geophysical Union in Washington, D.C. But also NASA is very good at putting together videos and doing promotion. And if they promote any of our projects or anyone's projects, it tends to get a lot of hits. And the information then flows into a lot of other websites and media. So it behooves us well to take care of our friends at NASA and answer their questions. So Joy had a couple of things. The first one, I guess maybe it's the easiest to answer, but it's also a long answer, at least as I put it together, is how did the Eclipse project go from your perspective? I think we all know from HamSCIence's perspective, we had more than one project. We had quite a few of them. So here's what I put together. Tell me if you guys like the approach I've taken, if you want to try something different, whatever. But I answered by saying, our community led and participated in a variety of projects, and we consider all to be successful. We gave the projects a collective name and logo. They get our festivals thing out there and a little bit of graphics on the page. But the point I wanted to make was that a tremendous amount of data was generated, some of which is currently being analyzed, while some has been archived for later study. And the project I thought we'd want to tell her about, so this is where I need some input. Near and dear to my heart, the Solar Eclipse QSO Party. ham radio operators being on the air, generating chronological and geographic data with our personal stations, and that was funded by a NASA grant. I wanted to make that point. Number two, we had roughly 100 GRAPE receiving stations collecting Doppler shift data, primarily from monitoring this station WWV. And the data relates primarily to bottom side ionospheric motion. Number three, the project that Nick led, radio volunteers in the US, Canada, and Europe, collecting recordings of medium wave stations before, during, and after the eclipse. And their observations indicate that various layers of the ionosphere, especially the D layer, were significantly impacted by the eclipse. Number four, Jonathan Rizzo's VLF receiver, the prototype that's Nathaniel's home, collecting natural radio data in eastern Pennsylvania. Number five, Steve's project, the time difference of arrival experiments. What I tried to simplify it to say was the data will be used in calculating the height of the ionosphere's bottom side before, during, and after the eclipse. Steve, is that, do you find that to be accurate? Is that, if that ends up in a NASA video, have I said the right thing?
Yes.
Okay.
That is accurate. I can give you more offline to add to that if you like.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that, because if I had a sentence or two in there, it may get into press. So good. Number six, David Kasdan and the students at Case Western Reserve mentioned in a couple articles their projects, and also mentioned HamSCI in the same breath. So I put the CWU students of a group of generally school-based ham radio stations in an along the path receiving experiment, listening to CHU, and they observed changes in the ionosphere as the eclipse traveled from Texas to Newfoundland. A little bit vague, but I think enough meat in that. I definitely wanted to give kudos to Rob Robinette and his team. HAM's transmitter received and stored, and volunteer-run database systems whisper signals, yielding over 50 million data points, consisting of transmitter receiver locations, time, frequency, in some cases, signal to noise ratios. I mean, it's oversharing, but I found it interesting. The result was a rich data set suitable for analyzing ionospheric dynamics before, during, and after the eclipse. But I also wanted to point out that many of the stations use sophisticated electronic equipment designed, built, and deployed by volunteers in the months just prior to the April eclipse. Of course, I was thinking about the whisper sondes and the many personal stations that were receiving whisper data. Because remember, we're talking citizen science here, so I wanted to get that in on there. Bill Engelke's efforts, a follow-on project, involved moving much of the collected data to the Madrigal database, meaning it'll be open access, and so on and so forth. And then I wanted to give Joyce some numbers too. These are the same numbers I quoted Liz McDonald and Sarah Kern from NASA Citizen Science in a couple of months preceding. So I thought that was pretty good. 8 projects. Is there anything that I've missed or anything project-wise that we'd also want to mention from the eclipse? And I said it's for the 8th, April 8th. Yeah.
I just said I think that looks good.
Okay, great. Thanks. I also want to get our numbers in there too. Again, for the April 8th data set, the science community is now digesting the number we've quoted in the past, 52.7 million spots, ham radio signal data. Okay, so that talks about what we've done. She asked us if we'd be releasing any findings at the end of the year or at AGU. What were those findings significant? Were there any surprises? And I think it's premature to talk about findings, I guess. But the thing that helped me out here is Mary Lou, you all will see in the upcoming HamSCI newsletter, the first edition. Mary Lou, and she did on last week's call, of course, did a kind of a synopsis of all the efforts that HamSCI is putting forth for AGU. So Mary Lou, I just more or less copy and pasted your words about our 16 presentations.
Okay, I found another couple of them, but I'll have to send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, if I need to change the numbers, that's fine. I gave a sample of titles, those relevant to the eclipse. The first two, I think, are Nathaniel's. And there's called deep is the item C. Of course, the TDOA will be Steve here. Analysis using the automated techniques. That's the guys at Scranton that Nathaniel was mentioning earlier, his students. Steve's been working with. And then there's Bill's project, making the radio data available for atmospheric research. And I forget who's doing number G, the high frequency radio receivers. But that's also going to be presented at AGU. So I think I made a pretty good case that we're going to have a significant impact on the AGU meeting this year. Does that seem reasonable to cover that topic?
I think that looks really good. Yes, I think that looks excellent.
Okay. Yeah, and if you send me some updated numbers, Mary Lou, we don't have to send this in for a while yet.
If you want to send it to Joy now as like just this is what we have so far. I think so I think Joy might be coming up to Scranton on Tuesday because we're having an emergency drill up here and she wanted to do some story about like Aries and space weather. So I may actually have a chance to see her in person on Tuesday afternoon. I'm uncertain how much time I'll have to talk with her about this, but maybe if she sees it now, then she might have a chance to ask me some additional questions on Tuesday.
Okay, I will do that later today and copy you on it, of course. So, and
Thank
then
you.
we can update it again later. We get some updated information.
Gary, Nick here.
Yeah, Nick.
Would it be possible to get a copy of this as it stands right now? I'm sort of, reading it and then it's scrolling by, and I'd like to sort of spend a little more time on it myself if I could, please.
Yeah, I could do that. I don't want to post it to the HamSCIence, the overall group yet because
No, I understand that.
I can certainly send it to you.
Yeah, sure. If you could, at your leisure, I'd appreciate it. Thanks very much.
Okay, very good. Be glad to. So the next thing she asked for are visuals, and this is one thing this group excels at is putting together a story by graphics. I've got enough presentations from Nathaniel and others. I think I've got most. I could probably find a visual for every one of these projects, almost 1 through, well, maybe not the database one, but 1 through 7. And I think it just seems like the right thing to do. 1 picture for each project. And if I'm missing anything, I'll ask.
Yeah, I think this is good. I imagine Joy will probably be doing a bunch of editing down, but yeah, I think giving her all of this is very appropriate.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree. There's a lot here. So, and this is where I need help from the group a little bit. Question 4: what we plan or hope to do next? And I know we've got some big plans. Number 2 was fairly easy. The Daisy 2 grant and what we'll be doing with that. I think I got these paragraphs more or less straight from the grant proposal. So that part of it was pretty easy. Number 1, I know Gareth has talked about some of the goals we have with the Daisy 2 project. I don't know if we want to mention those here or what else we may want to say for our plans in 2025 and beyond.
So you have those 2 items so far.
Right.
And then is there a 3 there or is that just empty?
No, that's 3. I was just a placeholder if we've got more ideas.
Yeah. I mean, I know there's a lot of different things happening. I don't know how much we want to tell tell them because I know Mackenzie has been interested in doing this meteor scatter contest. Um, let's see, we're planning on putting some things down in Antarctica. Um, but I don't, maybe want to save some of these things. Maybe instead of saying specifically the meteor contest, like meteor scatter contest, maybe you say something like we are developing future interactive amateur radio experiment events. So like do something to so so I'm alluding to the meteor scatter thing, but not necessarily pegging it to meteor scatter.
Yeah, that's still a bit of a work in progress anyhow. So we're
Yeah,
still working.
I mean, some of these things we definitely have irons in the fire. It's just I don't know how specific we want to be about them.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, I mean, if one and two, especially number two, there's a lot to that.
Yeah, maybe we just leave it as 1 and 2 for now, and that's good enough. And then when we get 3 and 4,
Okay.
Yeah, I guess what you're really looking at is a lot of sort of influences on radio propagation. That seems to be our our overall focus, isn't it? I
what's that?
mean, no, I was just thinking that like the overall focus seems to be on effects on radio propagation. Obviously, the eclipse was one of them, but like a lot of these other ones are, like basically trying to study the ionosphere using using observed radio propagation. Is that correct?
We're
Your
trying to.
I'm sorry, your audio was a little low, Nick. Some of us may
Oh,
have
I'm
missed that.
sorry. I'm sorry. No, it's just generally speaking, our the focus appears to be on using radio amateur communication to study radio like propagation effects. Is that correct? That is that the sort of overall push for what HamSci is doing. This is what I'm just thinking in general. The plan hope to do next. Am I still too weak? I'll say something in the chat.
Might it be appropriate in one to mention looking at the data in conjunction with the eclipsed ionosphere in the SAMI 3 model?
I think that would be appropriate. I mean, we're definitely doing that.
So I guess we'd say we were both interested in validating the model or improving it. I'm not sure what Joe Huber would say if he were here.
I don't know that we want to say necessarily. What if you just say comparing with the SAMI 3 eclipse ionosphere? SAMI 3, and you should get the word yeah, model in there. Eclipse ionospheric model.
Okay, I'll figure out a way to figure that one out. Okay, so that's a good adder.
In the eclipse, we can add the altitude part also, different regions of the ionosphere. Because altitude part will have, some of them have symmetric part, some of them don't have the symmetry part. I mean, the onset and recovery, some have symmetry, some don't have symmetry. This will come out eventually in the ray traces, but I mean, the lower E and D region will have more symmetric response. F will have more asymmetric. I'm saying it from the FF to from digisonds, which I have checked. This will come out in the ray traces also. So we can say about the altitudinal response or response of different regions.
Okay, how about we just maybe just leave paragraph 1 there because it's there's a lot to chew on there.
Hey, Gary, can you hear me?
Sure, Ron. Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't know. My tower crashed and my computer died. So my new computer, I'm never sure what it's doing. I'm not sure if it's appropriate in a kind of a technical discussion that you've got here, but would it be appropriate somewhere in the document to let them know that this is not static, that there is ongoing investigation, planning, and discussions to add projects as we go, and that this is this is something that we're working on, and that there is a plan to develop other, I'm not sure the words I want to say, but other studies and research will continue to come from this and be developed. And maybe that's not appropriate. I just wanted to throw it out.
I'm trying to think of how HamSci fits into all the other citizen science projects and NASA sponsors. I think there's somewhere between 10 and 14 of them. And you're right, some of them probably wrapped up their work after the eclipse or soon after because they were very eclipse focused. And but you are right that the eclipse was just happened to be one event for us, one big event or two big events. But HamSci
Maybe,
still.
I mean, maybe you can point to the fact, in terms of an upcoming thing next is our HamSci workshop in March. We're all going to have a big meeting and we'll be talking about the data and the results, and that's also where we form a lot of our ideas for the future too.
Yeah, I just thought it might be important that it's realized that the eclipse was not the only purpose or the only source of what we're doing, but that we are both proactively and actively pursuing other explorations in science, for want of a better term. I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that out.
That may be a way to put it. The HamSci workshop, March 2025. Reviewing past projects as well as planning for future HamSci explorations. Would that be adequate?
I think that works, yes.
All right.
Okay,
group. Well, thank you very much.
There is one word they call big helio year. So this 24 or 23 was big helio year, and the eclipse has happened in this year. If you want to add that word itself somewhere when you are seeing the reflecting back on the big heliosphere ionospheric results or HamSci participations, They will include eclipse, but they will also include the Ganon storm, March storm, if anyone presents for the future thing.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kuldeep. I will,
Yeah.
yeah, the heliophysics big year is obviously
Yes.
a
Yeah.
tremendous focus of NASA, so I think I will try to work that in somewhere.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll probably put that right in the opening somewhere. All right, great. Thanks again, everyone. A couple of planning items, just so we know what we're doing the next couple of weeks, I suppose. Gwen was here. Are you still good for talking, speaking on October 31st?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Do you want to give a little preview, or just a preview of that, or do you want to? We can be a surprise till I put the announcement out.
Yeah, well, maybe an outline of what it is, but I hope it doesn't put you off. Um, so the outline, well, the title is rather long. So 2-for-1, high and low ray ionospheric height measurements on the 8th of April eclipse, but that's just for a nice example, and steps along the way. So it isn't just results, but I thought it useful to go through how one gets at the data and what sort of algorithms one can use. So, starting off by how do you read a digital RF data file into some variables in Python? How can you use an extremely simple algorithm, autocorrelation in the time domain, to get estimate of Doppler shift and spread, and under what conditions are those useful? How you need to separate propagation modes, can't treat them all as one, so need to separate out, one hop, two hop side scatter. Estimating height of reflection is sort of the end point for this. But then at times we see that the Doppler is bimodal, and then things get difficult. So how do you deal with that? You've got to go into the frequency domain analysis, and now you're trying to separate propagation modes that have Dopplers very close together, the high and the low rays. How do you go about that? And that's where those two magic words, machine learning, came in. So I really rubbed my hands in glee when you mentioned that Tyler had joined us with interest in applying machine learning, because that's what I, with naive approaches so far, are trying to do. And then how we use then Doppler to estimate multiple heights of reflection. So the heights of the high and the low rays. So I guess that's my little preview of work in progress.
That's perfect, Gwen. Thank you. That gives everyone a little bit of taste of what we'll see in a couple of weeks, and hopefully incentivizes Tyler to come back, because, as you say, a lot of our work ties together from person to person, institution to institution, and project to project. So that's wonderful. I'd like to propose that we not have a call next week, because I think at least quite a few of us will be traveling to Scranton. So I think we can take a week off next week, would be my suggestion. And then we've got something really good to look forward to the following week, when Gwen talks about not only what we've seen, but how we arrive at it. And I think that's a fascinating look kind of behind the scenes to see how he comes up with some of his observations. All right.
That
Any
sounds good
comments?
to me.
Good view too? Okay, good, good. All right. And then on November 7th, Gareth Perry will be here. He's here at many of our weeks, but he'll be talking a little bit about VLF. So that's what, about 3 weeks out. We got another one coming up. So that's about it from my point of view this week. Is anything else that anyone else wants to bring up, or questions we've got? Nope. I think we're good then. So thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
I look forward to seeing many of you next week in Scranton or working you on the air at W3USR. I've been practicing with my paddle sending W3USR because the muscle memory keeps sending AF8A all the time. So hopefully I can get on CW a little bit next week. So
Definitely.
all right, good.
We've got Vibraplex paddles, so if you want something besides that, you should bring those. But we've got Vibraplex paddles, a straight key, and a bug.
And there's also the DX contest, the sideband contest is next week too, as well, right?
That's right. So it starts that evening. So you can start doing the sideband contest from there as well.
It would hopefully some students want to participate. If they're good contesters, great. If they're not, I would be happy to mentor them a little bit. We'll see what people's interests are. So
that sounds fantastic. I hope so too.
All right. Okay, if that's it, we'll put a ribbon on it and say so long, everyone, for a couple of weeks. Enjoy and be safe and get on the air if you can. 73 all.
73. Bye-bye.
Bye. 73.
Bye.